The highly anticipated Farfetch'd is just around the corner, coming to Pokemon Sleep. And we are all hoping it's going to be an ingredient specialist for leak because, well, it's holding a giant leak. And if the newest curry, the strongest newest curry is anything to go by, that requires 27 leaks. There's no way Farfetch'd is not an ingredient specialist, but we don't know for sure. I mean, there's every chance that the ingredient specialist for leak could fall on Galarian Farfetch'd in the future, but that would make the new dish not even worth cooking if we can't farm the leaks. Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video. It's Brovini here. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at some information we have about Farfetch'd. We're going to take a look at the summer festival that's coming and some tips I have for you guys as to where to go. We'll take a quick look at the two value bundles for New Moon Day and also for Summer Festival. First, let's take a look at Farfetch'd. It's going to be a flying type Pokemon. That means it'll be favorite berry for Cyan Beach. It will be found at Cyan Beach or Greengrass Isle or Gold Power Plant. And it's a slumbering sleep type, which is good news to me because it'll be the easiest sleep type to force when I really need that slumbering. Thank you to the data miners, we also have some stats for Farfetch'd, mainly that it is 16 bars to catch what we expected. We don't yet know its ingredient list, we don't know its specialty, we don't know its skill trigger rate, we don't even know what its main skill is until the release date, which will be the 23rd of June, in line with the Summer Festival beginning. And that Farfetch'd has a pretty big drowsy power requirement, meaning you need to hit a very high drowsy power in a sleep session in order to encounter it, with its base minimum requirement for 1-star Farfetch'd at 12.69 million. It is in line with Mawile, Mimikyu, and Delibird, being the highest DPR that aren't legendary or mythical Pokemon. So if you're planning to catch a lot of Farfetch'd from day one, my first tip is try to increase your drowsy power as much as you can on that first day. Before we take a look at the Summer Festival 2025 event, let's take a quick look at New Moon Day event number 2. Which will happen from the Tuesday of the same event week, so 24th of June, lasting for 3 days. Just like the first time we had New Moon Day, in the first sleep research session of each of the 3 days of New Moon Day, Pokemon won't be as easily full. That means if you've got a lot of biscuits, this is the time to catch Farfetch'd, Darkrai. Those are the Pokemon that have a lot of pips in order to catch. Again, we're going to get a shiny boost, and by the way, during the Summer Festival, we're also going to get a shiny boost. I do not believe those two shiny boosts will stack. Unlike the first New Moon Day, there will be a special appearance rate for Darkrai only, whereas the first New Moon Day we had Murkrow and Honchkrow as well. They will not make a return for this New Moon Day. So I guess New Moon Day was really just designed for Darkrai. Now take special note that Pokemon that won't get full as easily is only for the first sleep session. It doesn't apply to the second sleep session, and so does the fact that Darkrai can only spawn on the first session. So it's a good time to think about just doing a single session as opposed to doing naps as well. That way you try to maximize the number of spawns you have for each day so you have more choices as to what to catch with your biscuit. And the good news with this is that the bonus biscuit will always fall on a session that Darkrai can spawn, reducing your overall cost on your other biscuits. And also, Darkrai's appearance rate goes up every time you don't see a Darkrai. From our first New Moon Day event, we determined that approximately the first day you have a 16% chance of meeting Darkrai, but if you don't encounter Darkrai on that first day, there's about a 50% chance of encountering Darkrai on the second New Moon Day. But if you don't encounter Darkrai on the second day either, then the third day you're almost guaranteed to see Darkrai at 96% rate. Very few people didn't see Darkrai all 3 days, and I'm very curious to see whether those people will have an increased rate the next New Moon Day in the new month, or do we reset all of these rates? Regardless, we'll be doing this data collection a little bit later on, but it'll be interesting to see whether the rates carry over. There will be a New Moon Day bundle, which is exactly the same as the first time we had a New Moon Day bundle. And here is my value analysis, approximately 41% discount compared to what you would normally spend in diamonds to get these items. And these bundles are great if you really focus on catching Pokemon, because it just comes with biscuits and friend incense. So if you're a biscuit lover, New Moon Day bundles are the ones to go for. Although it does force you to buy an Ultra Biscuit, which if you don't have a lot of use for, can just take up space in your bag. Of course, that's not to say that it's not good value, because Ultra Biscuits, if you do see a Farfetch'd that's hungry, it is quite a good time to use one. But during New Moon Day event, Pokemon are supposed to have a lower chance to be all full. So I think it's fine to use Great and Poke Biscuits as well during the actual New Moon Day. But how does it fare compared to the Summer Festival 2025 bundles? Which one should you buy if you've got limited diamonds? Well, here is my value analysis. Bundle S has the best discount for about 40%, but they're not items that are super limited in any way. So Poke Biscuit, Friend Incense, Handy Candy, Dream Cluster, if you need all of these items, this is a good bundle to go for. But I think this time around, we have really undervalued Incense, because Farfetch'd is probably going to be meta shifting for leaks. So because I normally value Incense for just the candy that they provide, so you can see Farfetch'd Incense, 2 of them just gives you 63 diamonds worth of value. This is probably a bit undervalued. I think a lot of people will want Farfetch'd Incense. So while the discount isn't as big as usual, we should probably see this as the developers kind of hinting to us that everything else isn't as discounted because Farfetch'd is going to be good. But of course, that's just speculation. Without seeing the actual stats, I can't tell for sure. So that you just have to wait. Next, let's take a look at the Summer Festival event. Of course, for this week, I'm gonna guess that 100% of us are going to look for Farfetch'd, assuming that it's a leak specialist. That's what we want. And given that Farfetch'd is boosted to spawn this week, or rather greatly boosted, there are other Pokemon that are boosted as well. The only recommendation for veteran players is go to Old Gold Power Plant. There are just less boosted spawns of everything else crowding out the Farfetch'd. So you're going to see more Farfetch'd at Old Gold Power Plant than say at Cyan Beach or Greengrass Isle. For new players, I would suggest Cyan Beach if you haven't unlocked Old Gold Power Plant, or if your team or area bonus is very low at Old Gold Power Plant, then Cyan Beach is worth considering. I would avoid Greengrass Isle as usual because there's just too many other spawns that are crowding out what you want. But not to forget that Grubbin, if you haven't already got a good mono coffee Grubbin, is also boosted at Old Gold Power Plant. So this is a good chance to see Grubbin. And Pokemon can spawn outside of their sleep types as well. So Grubbin, you don't have to force dozing. You can do a bit of snoozing or even slumbering. It has a chance to spawn. Now, during this week, the dish type is guaranteed to be curries and stews, which by the way coincides with a new curry being released just today. The new dish is cut sukiyaki curry, which is currently by base strength the strongest curry in the game. It has 61% recipe bonus at level 1, but there are several huge problems with cooking sukiyaki curry. One being the pot size is 101, so a single trigger of your level 7 cooking power up S only brings your base pot to 100. You're still off by 1, and that's super annoying unless they increase the base pot size or they unlock the next level for cooking power up. The other 2 annoying things is you're required to have 27 leeks to cook one of these dishes. And with Chansey being only recently released, you also need 22 eggs. This dish might not be viable for a lot of players. So you'll still fall back to just cooking other dishes until you've got enough Pokemon that can farm all of these different ingredients. Sausage and honey though, that should be fairly straightforward. A lot of you should have a good sausage farmer, be it Aggron, Charizard, and hopefully a lot of you also have a good Venusaur for honey. Now the power creep isn't actually huge. Compared to Hidden Power Perk Up Stew, it's only about 8% stronger. But with the pot size and the difficulty of farming those ingredients, I think Perk Up Stew will still be the recipe of choice if you had to maximize your drowsy power. But I would personally still cook some sukiyaki curry anyway for every now and then, because we want to be raising the recipe level so that in the future when things do change, we are already prepared to have high level dishes no matter which one you have to cook. Regardless, both of these dishes are going to be much stronger than other dishes that only have a lower recipe bonus like Keema Corn Curry or Ninja Curry, etc. Dish strength will be multiplied by 1.5 times during this week, but the dishes won't be quite as strong as when we had packed portions, because during packed portions we also had extra ingredients being farmed and also automatically had a larger pot size. And as I said earlier, there will be shiny boost as well during this week. Finally, the candy Cram-o-matic feature is returning. So just a reminder how this works, you put in 40 useless candies that you have, and then it will spit out an M candy of a certain typing. It could be psychic type, rock type, fighting type, it could be anything, but it does have a higher chance of matching the type of candy that you injected. So if you put in Wobbuffet candy, you're more likely to get psychic type candy back. So 36% chance based on our initial research to get the same type candy. If you mix and match several different candy types though, then we don't have data to show how much of a chance the same type candy will drop. Regardless, this just gives you an idea of what you're expected to get anyway. Now, in occasion, about 16% of the time, you will get a great success where you actually get 2 times the candy. So in fact, 1 M candy is 25 candies, so you will actually get 2 M candies, 50 candies in return for putting in 40. So you're actually getting more candies back 16% of the time. The main issue is that you have to put in dream shards to use this feature. So just a reminder, this is how much candy Cram-o-matic costs. To use it the first time, it only costs you 1,000 dream shards. And I think everyone should use it at least once. Most people should use it at least twice because 5,000 dream shards allows you to convert stuff you don't normally need. It could be Meowth candies, it could be Wobbuffet candies or Sudowoodo candies, into stuff that you have potential to use. But from the 3rd use onwards, that's when it gets real expensive. 15,000 dream shards isn't too bad for veteran players, but 40,000 dream shards, that's probably only for whales. So my general recommendation is that most people should aim to use it at least twice a day. Some of you, if you've got the dream shards to spare and it's not costing you an arm and a leg to run Swalot every day just to get some dream shards, then 15,000 dream shard to convert 40 candies into 25 could make sense. 40,000 is hard to justify. Now, if you're not sure what candies to put into the candy Cram-o-matic, I'll tell you what most people did during the early Cram-o-matic events. Most people previously used Wobbuffet candies and converted them to other types candies, followed by Sudowoodo, then Meowth or Jigglypuff or Lucario or Rattata, and then Gulpin, Psyduck, Growlithe and Togepi. Times have changed a little bit, so I would recommend against using Gulpin candies because it is still the best Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon to date. I would probably avoid Jigglypuff candies, and I understand a lot of people probably have an abundance of Jigglypuff candies or may have chosen not to invest in a Jigglypuff as a healer. But with expert mode incoming, we might need a healer, like an energy for everyone healer for every typing. So being prepared for Jigglypuff to be your main healer during an expert mode week actually isn't going to be that bad of an idea. So besides Jigglypuff and Gulpin candies, all the other candies I think are fine to convert in the candy Cram-o-matic. And if you're still not sure which candies you should convert, check out your bag and see your Pokemon candies and just sort them by the numbers held. So scroll down the list to see which candies you have the most of that you're willing to part with. Of course, I have the most Eevee candies here, but I'm not willing to part with any Eevee candies because there are so many evolutions. Maybe I will need to invest in an Eevee in the future. The ones I'll probably part ways with, scrolling down, either Sudowoodo candies or Wobbuffet candies. But everyone's account's a little different. It might be that you just have way too much, say, Rattata candy or Mareep candy that you're just never going to use. So then maybe you would convert those. So good luck with catching Farfetch'd and maybe Darkrai, and I'll spin you in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.